Welcome, everybody. I just wanted to take the time to say thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today's topic, we're going to talk about taking advantage of asset utilization programs. Go ahead and review sort of our webinar etiquette first. I'll introduce our speaker in just a moment, but if you guys, we've muted your microphones. We're going to ask you to reserve your questions for the end of the formal part of the presentation, and we'll let you know when that is. There is a raise hand feature, so you can do that when you do have a question. And then I would just ask you guys to turn off your cell phones and not take any calls during the duration of the webinar, just out of courtesy for the presenters. So let's go ahead. I will turn this over to our presenter, Mark Glazer. He is our wholesale team manager, predominantly for the East Coast, but he does a number of asset utilization programs, so he's sort of our go-to guy on this topic. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Glazer.
Welcome, everybody, to the Asset Utilization Seminar. Today, we're going to discuss what A&D Mortgage has to offer you through our ability to securitize loans such as the asset utilization loan and provide it to you when the ability of no tax returns, no bank statements from your business, not able to get a profit and loss. This is where you would go if you have an asset base in order to lend and to provide you an income. Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Little systems, there we go. All right, so continuing on. So in the asset utilization, you could use this program for any type of loan, primary, second home, or investment. And the map that you see here talks a lot about where we lend. It also tells you that if you're doing a business purpose loan and investment loan, and you want to use asset utilization, there are states available that do not require you to have a license in order to do an investor business purpose loan. And when you look at our rate sheets for the investor side, take a look at the DSCR rate sheets on admortgage.com/rates. Put in the code lowercase AD mortgage. You could pull up, let's say, our DSCR loan, and then you'll see where we have licenses are not required for investment loans. The list will be there, similar to the list that you're looking at here. But today's topic is asset utilization. So basically, asset utilization is going to give you the ability to do more loans when you don't have tax returns, you don't have bank statements to determine income, and you don't have a CPA who's willing to do a profit and loss. So what you have is that you could go up to 80% loan to value, cash out up to 80, depending upon, of course, your credit scores and your LTVs. With the credit scores, you need to look at your matrix. You can count savings and checking as cash, which cash is cash. We've now changed it where securities, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds now also count like cash. Cryptocurrencies have arrived. If you're able to get a 2-month bank statement or a 2-month printout demonstrating the borrower's name, an account number, the name of the company holding your cryptocurrency, these are key things that you're going to need to provide it under cryptocurrencies, then we're going to count cryptocurrencies, but this program requires 6 months statements, not the normal 2, but 6 month statements for asset utilization, 6 month statements of savings and checking, 6 month statements of your stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Once again, your retirement, we're going to count at 70% of your retirement, 6 months total. We're going to take those numbers. We're going to subtract out, if it's a purchase, down payment, closing costs, and reserves. And whatever's left over, we're going to divide by 60. The key here is that you need to have 1.1 of your loan amount left in order to do the calculation, in order for it to work for this program. So who is it for? once again, an entrepreneur which may not be showing business bank statements, P&Ls, or any of the such tax returns. Same with high net worth. The high net worth candidate usually are the subjects of these programs where they have 800, 900, a million or up. And when you subtract out the down payment, closing costs, and reserves, you're going to have the 1.1 of the loan amount needed. And then whatever's left over, of course, once again, you divide by 60. So we're showing you the different FICO score examples. As low as a 640 FICO can get you into this program. But as you move up to the 700, the 740, the 760, you'll see that the amount of the loan you could get, of course, goes up with your FICO score. And again, it's FICO score driven. You can go to 4 million, but the LTVs will be lower. So what are we looking at? The benefits. You can use various types of accounts. If you're doing an investment loan, you don't need leases. Again, no income, no employment, no employer needs to appear on your 1003. And we're considering the actual asset only. There won't be any income from it. On a case-by-case basis, if you do have 6 months of an accumulating insurance policy, like a whole life policy, you'll want to show it to your account executive first to see whether or not we will count or not count it as a stable asset. So in review, we have up to 80% loan to value, cash out up to 75, savings and checking once again counts as 100, securities count at 100. And then again, back to the cryptocurrencies, you got to make sure that you have that 6-month statement, which has the borrower's name, the name of the company, an account number, and 6 months that it's stable. Retirements count as 70. Once again, the calculation is whatever's left over, it needs to be 1.1 of the loan amount, and we divide it by 60 months. And this is available on the Super Prime and Prime programs. As always, cash out is used as reserves. So one example which they were referring to is if you have something that you would normally do under the DSCR loan, which requires it to debt service and such, requires that. In this case, nothing is required. Just using this program up to 80% loan to value would allow you, if you have the assets, to 6 months. And if it does go for the 1.1 over, meeting the loan amount. So you could do a simple calculation. If the base loan is 540, you would take the 540 times 1.1, 594. And if you have that much left over, divided by 60, that would give you $9,900 a month in this scenario. You need to see whether or not that would help you, would qualify you for the program. Again, 1.1 over. As you can see, having a $500,000, 600, 700,000, 800 and up, these high net worth balances are going to be needed to get you your monthly income scenario. Okay. Once again, here are some more, ideas of scenarios whereby a tax return doesn't work, bank statements don't work. You got a great credit score. You want to go into a primary, second home, or investment, 1 to 4 units. You can use this program. So, in a little more of final thoughts, doing the refinance, investment properties, primary, second homes. They were pointing out that you don't need investment experience. We don't need investment experience, by the way, even when you're doing our DSCR investment loans, as well as this asset utilization. No investment experience is needed. Single family, 1 to 4 units. Again, no income, no employment, no employer appears on your 1003, no leases, and none of the standard computations are required. It's just having your bank statements of 6 months or more and we then do your computations. So we're right now at the point of asking questions. So does anybody have any questions concerning this particular program? And as you could see on the quick pricer, which is available at admortgage.com on the front page of the website, you can do some computations for any of our programs. Any questions? Anybody have any questions for us today?
Somebody's got their hand raised here a second.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, do we have any questions or any thoughts? Any hands up?
Yeah, we do have a hands up from HT. Let me see what allow him to talk. I'm not sure who the HT is, but go ahead and ask your question. I've got you unmuted.
Yeah, hi, good morning. I have questions about is this no income, no you don't check everything, you just check a 6-month a bank statement, which is stated income loan, or what type of loan this is? Sorry.
Okay, so an asset utilization is taking the bank statements over the course of 6 months from your savings, checking, 401k, stocks, bonds, mutual investments, all of the liquid assets that are in the borrower's name. We take that number, we subtract out the down payment, closing costs, and reserves on a purchase, or we subtract out anything, even on a refinance, if there's any reserves needed. We get the income by taking that number, the gross number, and we divide it by 60 after we do our computations. Let's say in a 401k, it only counts as 70%, and the stocks, bonds, and mutual funds count as 100, and savings and checking count as 100. When that computation is done, you divide by 60, and that's where you get your income.
So it's a 60 or 16?
No, 60 months divided into that 6 months of
6 months.
bank statements. Whatever the final number is, as long as it's a stable asset, if it tells you you have, let's say, $1 million left over after taking out down payment, closing costs, and reserves on a purchase, and it's at the 1.1, meaning your loan amount, your asset left over needs to be 1.1 over your loan amount. So whatever you have, you divide that by 60 to come up with your computation for income.
Okay. So are you guys calculated the crypto too or not?
Say again, ma'am?
Are you guys calculated a cryptocurrency, like a crypto?
Well, remember about cryptocurrency, we need to make sure that you can show 6 months printout from a reputable cryptocurrency holder that will demonstrate the borrower's name and account number, and that we could readily see the currency and where it is at the last statement of the 6 months, and then it's there for the period.
So you need to stay at the platform for 6 months.
It needs to be reasonably stable. It can't go 50% down, 50% up. It can't go wild. It needs to have been a stable account.
For example, if they transfer, if you wanted a statement because maybe they save in the digital wallet, then cold wallet, so they can transfer to the platform. You don't need to be 6 months, right? So
no, the answer is you need to have 6 month statements to show the assets, and they needed to have been reasonably stable over the past 6 months, demonstrating the borrower's name, the name of the provider, and account number.
Okay, gotcha. How about that in case, we talk about crypto? I remember you guys accept crypto as a down payment, how that works. So
same, okay, if you're not using this program for the asset utilization, but you're using it for a down payment source other than asset utilization, you would need to provide 2 months printout in another scenario, whereby you would show down payment, closing costs from the account, but it needs to be stable. Stability of crypto is key here.
Okay. So which is need to be same like a saving account, right? Saving there for a couple months.
Correct.
Gotcha. So there's only 3 websites except like I remember like Karen and Coinbase, right? And
Those are very reputable names,
yeah.
which will provide you with the 6 months in case for this particular program printouts, 6-month continuous with the borrower's name, account number, and the name of the program and the name of the holder of the cryptocurrency.
Okay. So how to pay the escrow with a crypto or need to be transferred as a US dollar to pay the title?
Well, remember, again, yeah, before closing, all of this needs to go to a US bank account to be converted to US dollars.
Ah, okay. Still need to go to bank account. Gotcha.
Yeah, it has to be moved, or if you move it to the title company, you're gonna have to demonstrate the wire went over, and then the title company is gonna have to confirm it arrived in US dollars.
So the title company can convert as US dollar?
Again, ma'am, it's pretty brand new to us. So you're probably gonna want to find out from the title company whether they will permit it. More than likely, you're gonna have to transfer it to a US bank, get it converted into cash, and then wire it from that account. And you're going to need to show the whole transaction from crypto to bank to title.
Gotcha. Anyways, they need to transfer to as a US dollar fund.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's one other person with their hand raised. Let's get to that question, then we'll get to the ones that are in the Q&A. Let me mute HT, and then Ronnie, you're unmuted. So if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes, Ronnie, go ahead.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you for the information, great information. I'll share with the host here. The host has disabled the attendee chat. So I'm not sure if you're getting any questions via the chat, but that's
sorry, we forgot to mention we disabled the chat. That's why we use the Q&A function here.
Okay, just FYI. 2 questions. The first question is, can we get a copy of this presentation sent to the attendees of this webinar today? That would be helpful to have. And then the second question, did I hear you correct, Mark, in saying that the cash out amount can be used as reserves to meet that reserve requirement?
Cash out. We always use cash out as reserves.
Okay, thank you.
But it's not part of the 6 months. That has to stand on its own.
Okay, that's fine.
And then to your first question, yes, all of these webinars are recorded and we put them on the A&D Learning Center. I'll get to that slide in just a second. But you'll also get an email invitation from the Zoom system tomorrow that'll give you a direct link and a passcode to review this webinar.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Ronnie. All right. And then there's a question in the chat, Mark, about if we can provide approximate rates and points, for examples, for the bank statements.
Okay, so are we referring to rates and points for our asset utilization program or for our bank statement program?
What's that EG bank statement? So I would presume they want the asset utilization since that's the topic.
Okay, so what you're going to be able to find is you could go to admortgage.com/rates. Once you've arrived there at the front page of my website, you're going to put in AD Mortgage, lowercase. You could then bring up a rate sheet, super prime, and you could do your computations there. If you want to get a real on point with all the add-ons, you could do that. And there's also our quick pricer, which is located when you go to AD Mortgage. And on the front page of our website is our quick pricer. And you can access rate information there with a scenario. Questions?
I think that's most of them.
Is that everybody? No more questions from our participants?
So far, I'll go ahead and finish out the presentation, and that'll give people some time to think. a big push that we've been doing this year is enhancing our technology to make the business easier for you to conduct. A couple of the tools that we've developed, as Mark's referenced a couple times, the quick pricer on the website. We've also created a centralized appraisal platform, that's A&D Appraisal Center. And then we've created a kind of all-in-one marketing design platform called A&D Studio. We do a series of weekly webinars every Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier. Next week, we're going to do one with broker support. The week after, we're going to cover doing cash out refinances. Week after that, we'll do sort of sales strategies and tips using a bunch of our different loan programs we have available. And then the week after that, we're going to look at the jumbo and the prime jumbo specifically. And as the gentleman Ronnie had asked about in terms of the recordings, we do have all the recordings we've done in this webinar series at our learning center, and the address is right there. It'll also be in the email that we send you tomorrow. Typically, they may be up by the end of today. Usually it's by the next morning that they'll be up. But we're putting them up about within the first 24 hours. And we'll be recording all the future ones as well. We're active on social media. We've got a number of platforms there. So we've got a Facebook channel, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're on something called Telegram, which is not as well known in the US market, but it is in Europe and Asia. So we've got a channel there. And then we have two chat groups that we participate in with other lenders, both on LinkedIn and Facebook, called Non-QM Exchange. So you'll find people putting scenarios out there for all kinds of different situations. So, and then when you guys log off, there'll be a brief 5-question survey to give us some feedback on how we're doing. Okay, so it looks like we did get a couple more questions come in, Mark. Are we doing commercial loans?
For the program you're talking about, we will only do 1 to 4 units, and we will do, we can close in an LLC.
Okay. We got another question about an approximate rate. Do we know what we've got at the moment, just even in a quick ballpark?
Right now, rates are running somewhere in the mid-5s to mid-6s, depending upon your credit scores, your LTVs. And then you had one more question concerning about, so someone asked about how it's determined for your income. The $9,900 scenario is assuming that your loan amount would be $540, and then you would have saved up 1.1 of that, which would be $594,000 after down payment and closing costs. So the 9,900 was calculated on that assumption.
But that's not the cap of what they could borrow.
No, the cap of what you could borrow was the scenario of a 540 loan amount, providing you have at least 594 or greater, which is 1.1 or greater than the loan amount saved up, but it's only generating $9,900. And you would have to see whether or not that would be enough to qualify, given the borrower's PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and their current liabilities.
Okay. And then Ronnie has another question. Let me go ahead and unmute him again.
Okay, thank you. The quick pricer is great. I use it often. My question with the quick pricer is around, would there ever be the ability for us, when we're using the tool, to enter our own individual loan amount to make it more specific? What I mean by that is the quick pricer has these radio buttons, which are great if you want to give someone an idea of a range. But unfortunately, if we're trying to provide a true cost from a P&I perspective or even rate, I've found that I'm not able to zero in on the actual financing amount. So I wonder.
I could help you with that. Just click on the amount that's showing. It'll turn red, and you could change it.
Oh, perfect. I had no idea. All right. Thank you.
There you are.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. You are very welcome. Okay.
Anybody else?
That seems to be the last question, but let's give it another minute. Oh, no, run.
Okay.
All right, I think.
Well, if there's no other questions, we wish to thank you so very much for joining us today for our asset utilization seminar. I suggest that you contact your account executive if you want any more specific information as it pertains to a scenario. That's what your account executives are great for. They are great scenario people. Always give them a shout and give them a couple hours to return your call. We're here to help you. Any more questions?
One more.
Okay, well, thank you again for joining us.
All right.
And we'll leave you now. And once again, call your account executive with any questions that you may have. Thank you for joining.